Greetings, fellow Dungeon Delvers, and welcome to DORAN'S and Dragons, where we work together to come up with Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition builds for your favorite League of Legends champions. Today we're building Ivern, the Green Father. The former Freljordian warlord known as Ivern the Cruel fled to seek out the powerful magic from the land of Ionia to defeat the enemy of his people, the Iceborn. Landing on the shores of Ionia, he and his army assaulted the land, slaughtering the locals until they relented and took him to the God Willow, a mystical tree that the Ionians worshipped. While Ivern's troops were cut down by the Vastaya who guarded it, Ivern struck the tree with his battle axe. The energy within the tree flooded out and transformed Ivern forever into a creature of the forest. He was frozen in stasis for a century while he observed and learned about the beauty of nature and its inhabitants. His bloodlust seeped from him, and only a love for the natural order remained. Ivern the Cruel was dead, only the Green Father remained. In one of his journeys throughout nature, he found a wounded stone golem and restored her back to health. He earned a lifelong friend that day. Daisy hasn't left his side ever since. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. We'd like to thank Void Gorilla, one of the channel's patrons. Void Gorilla chose Ivern to build as part of the rewards for being a DORAN'S Blade level patron. Alright, now let's get into the build. First, we're going to go over the goals of the build. Ivern is highly connected to nature and seeks to protect it and teach others about it. He also has a lot of utility, from shielding allies to rooting enemies, and even creating bushes for his friends to hide in. Finally, we need to summon Daisy, Ivern's stone golem best friend. For race, we need creatures who have a deep love for plants and animals in the natural world. Firbolg is the best choice here, and they have a ton of features that work with Ivern. Firbolgs have a +2 to wisdom and a +1 to strength. They also have their own style of magic called Firbolg magic. This lets you cast detect magic or disguise self with your wisdom once per rest. Hidden Step lets you use your bonus action to turn invisible once per rest until you attack, make a damage roll, or force someone to make a saving throw. Firbolgs also have a powerful build, which lets you increase your build by 1 size when you're calculating encumbrance and weight you can move. The final feature, Speech of Beast and Leaf, is the best one for Ivern. You have a limited ability to speak with beasts and plants, and you have advantage on any charisma-based checks to influence them. For background, we'll go with Hermit. Ivern has secluded himself in nature after he turned his new leaf and has spent all of his time there. He only emerged from nature based on whatever adventure hook your DM is going to start your game with. Being a hermit grants you proficiencies with medicine and religion, and you also gain the discovery feature. You'll have to work with your DM on this one, but basically your time in isolation let you find out one huge truth about the world. This fact can be what brought you back to society to start off your game. Alright, it's stat time, and you know what that means. Standard array. Roll if you'd like, but we need at least a 13 in intelligence and wisdom for multiclassing. Speaking of wisdom, that's what we're going to start off with. Ivern's dalliance with the God Willow and the century he spent there observing nature left him a more wise man. Next we'll take Charisma. His exuberance for nature and its inhabitants carries over in his communication to them. Intelligence is next, we need it for multiclassing purposes. We'll take Dexterity after because he's very nimble and moves relatively quick. Constitution is next at a 10. Ivern isn't very tanky, but we don't want a negative modifier either. And finally we'll dump our Strength, as in this new form Ivern no longer needs the brute strength he previously relied on. Alright, since we don't need any special equipment, let's kick off this build with a level in Druid. Druids as a class are wholly focused on nature and preserving its precarious balance, which fits perfectly with Ivern. Druids have a D8 hit die and proficiencies with light and medium armor and shields. They also have a slew of weapon proficiencies. They also gain 2 skill proficiencies. In true Ivern fashion, we'll pick up nature and animal handling. The final first level feature we'll gain is Druidic, the language of the Druids. This allows you to communicate secretively with your fellow druids in case you ever encounter them on your travels. Finally, we'll discuss the spells we gain at this level. If you're new to the channel, we only choose spells that are directly related to Ivern to discuss. As a druid, you don't choose to learn your spells like most other classes. You prepare them each morning when you wake up. Keep that in mind in case you want to change up your playstyle. First, we'll take Thorn Whip, which lets you create a vine-like whip covered in thorns that will strike a creature in range. If the attack roll hits, it'll take 1d6 piercing, and unless it's bigger than large, you can yoink it 10 feet closer to you. Now there's a variety of spells at this level that allow us to speak with a fauna of the forest, like Animal Friendship, Beast Bond, and Speak with Animals. Each has a flavor of speaking to animals or developing a connection with them, so we'll let you choose which ones here you want. Our final spell for first level is Entangle. This is the first version we have of Ivern's Q, Root Caller. You'll hurl a ball of vines that surge throughout a 20-foot square and restrain all creatures that fail a strength save. Don't worry, we'll get a more accurate version in a few levels. Level 2 druids choose a circle to join based on the philosophies they most identify with in druidism. Ivern is a clear circle of the Sheppard member. They focus on the spirits of nature, mainly beasts and fae. The first feature this gives you is Speech of the Woods. This is very similar to the Furbolg's Speech of Beast and Leaf, except you can more clearly understand the animal's return communication. Next we get Spirit Totem. You call the spirits of your forest friends to come help you. They create a 30-foot aura and grant benefits to the creatures within that radius. This lasts for 1 minute and recharges on any rest. The 3 spirits you have to choose from are Bear, which gives you temporary HP and advantage on strength checks and saves. Hawk, which allows you to spend your reaction to grant any creature advantage on a single attack roll, and all allied creatures have advantage on perception checks. And finally, Unicorn, which grants you advantage on all checks to detect creatures in the spirit's aura. Whenever you heal a creature with a spell, all creatures of your choosing inside the aura gain hit points equal to your druid level. This is a nice little AoE healing effect. The final level 2 feature you gain is Wild Shape. This lets you use an action to shapeshift into a beast you've seen before, according to the restrictions on the beast shape table. You can stay in this shape for up to half your druid level hours. I would work with your DM to create monster cards for Scuttle, Raptor, Wolves, and Gromp, who you can bring to life in your game, which would be a fun way to utilize this ability. 3rd level druids get level 2 spells. We'll take a few here. First is Animal Messenger, which lets you send a message through one of the critters in the forest, preferably the squirrel who always sits on your shoulder. Next we'll take Barkskin, which is one of the ways we'll do Ivern's E Trigger Seed. Barkskin gives a willing creature a minimum AC of 16. Pop your E on your ADC or mid laner and let them go ham. We'll also take Healing Spirit, which I know sent a collective gasp and groan from the DMs out there. You call out a spirit to heal those who enter or stay in the creature's space. This spell is one of the most powerful healing spells in the Druid's arsenal, especially with a Unicorn Spirit Totem on top of that. We'll flavor this as the redemption item, which is very commonly built on Ivern. Finally, we'll take Hold Person, which is a more accurate version of our Root Collar ability that we were referring to earlier. This lets you force a wisdom save on a humanoid. If they fail, they're paralyzed, by being wrapped up in roots for flavor purposes. Paralyzed targets are going to be easy pickings for Daisy. Level 4 druids get their first wild shape improvement. You can now transform into CR 1/2 or lower beasts, including those with swim speeds now. We also get an ability score increase, which we'll use to bump up our wisdom 2 points for better saves and spell attack rolls for our druid spells. 5th level druids get level 3 spells. The first we'll take is Ivern's W, Brushmaker, in the form of plant growth. This lets you choose any point and all plants in a 100-foot radius become thickened and overgrown, which applies a double difficult terrain penalty when trying to move through them. Your Rangars and Nidalees, thank you for your service. We'll also pick up Speak with Plants. This allows you to more clearly communicate with plants than through your previous abilities. There's a lot of potential for this spell and nuance that can be used. For example, you could release a character tether by an enemy caster's Entangle ability, or if the fed top laner is chasing you through the jungle, you can bend the trees and have the brushes snag their ankles and make the terrain difficult. Level 6 Shepherd Circle Druids get Mighty Summoner. Any beasts or fae you conjure up start with 2 extra HP per hit die, and their damage is considered magical, for overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks. 7th level druids get level 4 spells. We have 2 here. The first is Conjure Minor Elementals. Work with your DM to create the Krugs and summon them. The only restriction here is what CR they are and how many you can create as a result. This will burn a lot of spell slots, but start with the biggest Krug, and as they're slaughtered, summon the 2 smaller ones, and when those are killed, summon the 4 even smaller ones. The second spell is Conjure Woodland Beings, which lets you summon Fae creatures. Again, work with your DM to create the raptors and summon the entire raptor camp. Level 8 druids get another wild shape improvement. Time to fly. Your only restriction now is that the beast must be 1 CR or lower. Get your aerial scout on. You also gain another ability score improvement. We'll max our wisdom here with 1 point and bump our constitution 1 point as well. Level 9 druids get 5th level spells. Time to get our girl Daisy with Conjure Elemental. This lets you summon an elemental servant, although you guys are definitely more friends than the master-servant relationship. You choose an element, but you'll most likely always go Earth for Daisy. She has her own initiative and you command her verbally. It doesn't cost you an action, which is nice compared to a lot of other conjuration and summon abilities. There is one downside to Daisy though. Until we finish this build, if you break your concentration, she will become hostile to you and the party if your DM has it out for you. So when she's out and running around, make sure you stay out of the fray as much as you can. We're going to take Warcaster's Defeat in a little bit here to try and soften that out, but if you want to swap it out for one of your earlier ability score increases, feel free. We'll also get our passive, Friend of the Forest, by way of Commune with Nature. You spend a minute casting a spell, and once cast, you become one with nature, briefly giving you knowledge of the area up to 3 miles away. For our final level in Druid, we gain the Sheppard Circle feature, Guardian Spirit. This causes any summoned beast or fae that end its turn inside the aura of one of your spirit totems to heal back HP equal to half your Druid level. Alright, now that we've got our solid basis in nature, it's time to solidify our summoning abilities for Daisy and the other jungle monsters by taking a few levels in Wizard. Wizards have a d6 hit die, so we're about to become very, very squishy and we gain no additional proficiencies with this multi-class. We do gain Arcane Recovery, which allows us to regain spell slots once a day during a short rest up to half your Wizard level. You can divide that out. For example, as a level 8 Wizard, you can gain either a level 3 spell slot and a level 1 spell slot, 2 level 2 slots, or 4 level 1 slots. We also gain level 1 spells here. We'll take Shield, which is another version of Ivern's E. Shields let you use your reaction to add +5 AC to any attack made against you. This bonus AC lasts until the start of your next turn. Second level Wizards choose the School of Magic they're going to focus on, which for Ivern will be School of Conjuration. This gives us 2 features at this level. Conjuration Savant reduces the gold cost and time of conjuration spells by half. You also gain Minor Conjuration, which allows you to conjure an inanimate object within 10 feet of you. It can't be larger than 3 feet, and it can't weigh more than 10 pounds. Also, it must be a non-magical object that you've seen before. I think you just make a little Daisy figure to carry around with you when she's not there, so she's always with you. Third level Wizards gain level 2 spells. We'll take Flock of Familiars here. This lets you summon 3 familiars that last an hour and follow the rules of the Find Familiar spell. These would be best as the various minor creatures that float about the jungle that Ivern talks to. At level 4, Wizards gain an ability score improvement. We'll skip that for now and take the Warcaster feat we mentioned earlier to shore up our concentration for Daisy. This gives you a bunch of benefits. You have advantage on all concentration checks when you take damage. You can cast spells even with a weapon and shield in both hands, which Ivern won't necessarily use, but hey, it's nice. And finally, whenever a creature provokes an opportunity attack from you, you can use your reaction to cast a spell at the creature rather than make an attack. 5th level Wizards gain level 3 spells. We'll take Erupting Earth here, which will flavor as Daisy's Flower Power ability. To do this, you'll ready the spell with the condition that when Daisy makes a slam attack, your spell goes off. Each creature in a 20-foot cube has to make a dex save as the earth ruptures and spews out dirt and stones. If they fail that save, they take 3d12 bludgeoning damage. It's not quite a knock-up, but it does a decent amount of AoE damage, and whoever also got pummeled by Daisy is going to be looking rough after this combo. Level 6 Conjuration Wizards get Benign Transposition, which lets them teleport up to 30 feet to a space they can see if it's unoccupied. If the creature is willing and small or medium size, you can even swap with them. So if you see one of your conjured jungle creatures about to get wrecked, you can swap with them and take the heat in true Ivern style. Just please don't do this too much, because my god are you squishy. This recharges on either a long rest or anytime you cast a leveled spell, so you can reset this quite often. When you're not swapping places, just think of it as the summoner spell Flash. Hey, look at that, it wasn't Misty Step for once. 7th level Wizards gain level 4 spells. We'll choose Stoneskin here as yet another flavoring of Ivern's Trigger Seed. This gives any willing creature you touch resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. At this high of a level, it won't really come up much besides when dealing with large combats or minion brawls. Level 8 Wizards gain the final ability score improvement for this build. As always, I like to take the opportunity here to round off any odds scored to bump modifiers, so we'll take a +1 to Intelligence and Constitution here. 9th level Wizards gain level 5 spells. We'll take Hold Monster here, which is the final upgrade to our Root Caller ability. This is just like Hold Person, except it removes the humanoid restriction. If the target fails their Wisdom save, they're paralyzed, and Daisy is going to give them the business. And you're going to laugh, and I'm going to laugh, and we're all going to laugh. Our final level in Conjuration Wizard gives us Focus Conjuration. While concentrating on a conjuration spell, i.e. when Daisy is running about, your concentration cannot be broken by taking damage. This is huge, but it does come super late into the build, so I would recommend still taking Warcaster earlier to cover this up. Now if you're starting a game with level 20 characters, feel free to keep the ability score increase instead, as this will cover the concentration advantage for Daisy. Alright, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. Nature is the true focus of this build, and I am ecstatic to summon all these fun jungle creatures to help us in battle. We also have a ton of utility, from roots to teleportation and shields. Your party is gonna love you. Finally, we have Daisy, and she's gonna wreck some fools. Now let's talk about the bad. Okay, we're just gonna get the meme out of the way. Ivern is squishy. Those wizard levels really took their toll. Also, anytime you're in an urban setting, you're gonna have a hard time, not to mention other planes of existence. So keep your campaign setting in mind before choosing to play Ivern. So what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as links to Amazon for the books we used in this build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, including access to our Discord, where we chat about our builds, and also a guaranteed champion build of your choosing. We plan on churning out one League champion build every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.